Welcome to ZOOMERTIMES TV. And here's your host, Anita Finley.
Hello, everybody. This is the Zoomer Times TV presentation, and we are very fortunate to have celebrities, authors, all sorts of interesting people to talk about their passion. And when we have authors, of course, we're looking at their books. And I have a special author today, and it's Dr. David Sherer. And the reason it's so special is because he has 3 books that we decided to feature in our November issue. And this is let me just show you, this is the November issue. I'm just going to put it up right now, right here. And you will see a full page with his books. Now, you wonder how a busy anesthesiologist has time to write books like this. Well, we're going to answer. We're going to ask Dr. Sherer, just how is that possible? So welcome to our show, Dr. Sherer, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so the question is, these are 2 very big books, and it's in the medical field. And then we have another book, which is a novel. And do you have that in front of you there?
Actually, I don't, because all my copies have been sold out. I don't have any on me.
Too bad, right?
Yeah.
But we have it in our. This is what we did. We did a big review, and it's the one at the bottom. It's called Into the Ether, which is a great name. If you read the book, you'll understand why that was appropriate. Let's start off with your books. Which one did you do first? What Your Doctor Won't Tell You, or Hospital Survival Guide?
Well, I did Hospital Survival Guide first because it's actually a remake and improvement on my 2003 book called Dr. David Sherer's Hospital Survival Guide. So it's an improvement of a book that was done 18 years ago.
Huh. I didn't know that. Well, that's okay. Well, that's even more interesting because you were a practicing anesthesiologist at that point. It's a big book. How did you find the time to do that?
Well, I just got the inspiration and got motivated because I found that so many patients were asking the same questions over and over again. And I thought, well, why don't I provide all the answers in one easy guide that people can go to? And so I did, because I really wanted to consolidate the information in one place. And now here we are in 2021, and we see that questions about hospitals and healthcare are more than ever before in the news and in everybody's mind. So it was actually fortunate that I got to jump ahead on this. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's quite a thing. So as an anesthesiologist, you spent a lot of time in hospitals, and you tried to do what you thought was right, but it's never perfect. And you there, we all know that the anesthesiologist is the person that starts before the operation, kind of, right? So let me back up with this. Why did you become an anesthesiologist? With your MD degree, you could have been anything.
That's true, but I found that the practice of anesthesia combined a lot of great science, physiology, and pharmacology with procedural things that I enjoy doing with my hands. So I was able to combine the things about the science that I liked with the practical things that I enjoyed doing with my hands and with my mind. So it seemed like a good fit. So I practiced it for 35 years.
35 years. That's, thinking about it. And I know a lot of operations start at 7 a.m, maybe earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And,
some of them start even earlier. I know a lot of cardiac procedures start at 6:30 or so.
Right. And I have friends who say, I want to be first. Before anyone's tired, I want to get in there first. Right.
Well, I talk about that in the book because you do want to get in there first, because first of all, you're not allowed to eat or drink anything, so you're starving and you're stressed out. So it's much better to be the first person of the day. So if you can be the first person of the day, you should request it. So, yeah.
So do you have breakfast before you started?
Personally, me,
Yes.
you mean before my work? Yes, but I never had caffeinated coffee because I didn't want my hands to shake. So I always drank decaf. So it's important. I know the eye doctors who did cataract surgeries, they many of them would not have any caffeine because when they're doing this fine work, they don't want their hands shaking like that. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, well, I know that I know we're laughing about that, but that's what it is. Being a doctor, it's all those tricks and all those good things to make you so perfect. So when you were in the hospital and you were performing your anesthesiologist and you saw things that weren't right, how could you respond to them? I mean, that was dangerous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, you have to understand that medical malpractice and medical errors occur every day. Did you know that every year 7,000 surgical instruments are left in patients every year? Like scissors and forceps and sponges and things like that. Can you imagine?
No, I've heard of it, but I never heard of that many.
7,000 foreign bodies are left in patients every single year. And, you know, I quote in the book, the Institute of Medicine study that came out in the 1990s that said one of the leading causes of death in the United States was the medical system itself and medical error. So, you know, that was another impetus for me to write the book, because when that report came out, I believe in 1999, I said, wait a second, the system's supposed to help you and protect you. It's not supposed to kill you, right? So, and now here we are in the pandemic, and so many procedures that people are very worried about even going to the hospital because they don't want to get sick getting into the hospital. So it's a big problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, we hear about that so much, and people always say, I don't want to die in the hospital. Let me go home.
Yeah, well, I understand that. And no one wants to die in a sterile environment like the hospital. You certainly would rather be surrounded by people you care about in a comfortable environment. But I see the point. So, you know, a lot of people these days are afraid to go to the hospital for their routine procedures like colonoscopy and mammogram and screening tests because they say, I don't want to get COVID. And that's about the worst thing you can do, because you have to continue your medical care while you protect yourself against the virus. So it's important that people have to understand that.
Right, and hospitals have been taking ultra conservative responsibility, and I know that. Well, you have too many books, and I'm going to have to jump over to the next one because we only have 30 minutes for this interview. We'll be doing another one, but in the future. But What Your Doctor Won't Tell You. This is his other book. It's another fantastic book. Dr. David Sherer, that's who we're talking to. He is retired now, but when you wrote this, were you retired?
Yes, I was retired when I wrote that. And I was very excited about that book because it's all the things I wanted to say when I was practicing that I never really had the time or the inclination to talk about. And now that I'm retired and I don't owe anything to anybody, I don't have to worry about any controversy. I can just speak the truth, you know? So that book is full of truth. And I think it's full of truth because I go to reliable sources such as research institutes and major university hospitals and distinguished medical journals to quote my statistics. And I only deal in what I feel is reliable, medically proven evidence for what I say in the book. So I was very careful to talk about things from a evidence-based platform.
Yes, and after reading the book, I was so amazed about what you said in there. But my opinion for all our readers and our YouTube watchers is, you know, years ago we used to have encyclopedias. We don't have them now. We get online, we look at things, but I would suggest that you purchase these two books. And the reason is they're probably and they have wonderful indexes, and probably anything you want to know, you could look up, and you will be on top of the game compared to a lot of your neighbors and people who just watch TV. It's not enough. So it's what your doctor won't tell you, the real reasons you don't feel good and what you can do about it. I mean, it's a shame in a way that a book like this has to be written, but we're glad Dr. Sherer took it on. And of course, the hospital survival guide. Any of you who had a loved one in a hospital or yourself, you know that there are lots of things there that you want to complain about, but of course you're afraid to complain. So these are the books that I can't recommend highly enough for people to do this. Let's get back to what your doctor won't tell you. Did you make doctors angry at you when your book came out?
Actually, it turned out to be the opposite, because they came to me and they said in phone calls and emails and in person, gee, I wish I could have said that to my patients because I'm constrained by the system I'm working under right now. So good for you, they would say. They would say things like, you know what, these are the things I'd love to talk about, but I just can't because I could get in trouble at work with my HMO or with my practice or with my medical board. So I felt that I was speaking out for doctors and for patients at the same time, because these are things that are uncomfortable to hear, but they have to be heard. They just have to be heard, because if we're going to make a change in health, not only healthcare, but in health in this country, we have to talk about the truth. And I think I am presenting what is the truth, or is close to the truth. And I'll say another thing, Anita, it's very important. Everybody talks about a healthcare crisis in this country. I think they really need to talk about a health crisis in this country, not merely a healthcare crisis in this country. Because if 70% of Americans are either overweight or obese, and that leads to so many diseases, then we have to talk about a health crisis in the United States.
That's excellent. Yes, and that is smoking. It's funny when I look at forms that you have to fill out, it's the smoking and the weight, that's the obesity. But then you're right, it does lead to so many other things. I want to go back though to what your doctor won't tell you. Can you think of a particular thing that a doctor would have liked to have said, but he couldn't say? What would something like that be?
Oh, well, here's an example. Everybody is concerned about cholesterol and heart disease. And I would venture to say that many of these viewers are on statin medicines. And statins have been used for many years to treat high cholesterol. And I think that doctors would have said something like this: statins aren't the only way that you can lower your cholesterol effectively, because other than diet and exercise, what you can do is take things like plant glycols, which are found in oats. Okay, you can use oatmeal for that, is effective for lowering cholesterol. A garlic supplement is effective for lowering cholesterol. A over-the-counter medication called Cholestoff, which uses pine tree resin, which reduces cholesterol in the liver.
Go back again. What's the name of that?
It's Cholestoff. It's found in the grocery store and in the pharmacy. And I took it myself. It lowered my cholesterol 30 points. My cholesterol went from about 210 to 185, and all the profiles improved. And so it doesn't have the side effect profile that the statins have. The statins can cause muscle pain. It's been linked to diabetes and Alzheimer's disease. I mean, why would you take a synthetic pill when you can take a plant-based supplement that's been proven to be effective and safe? So that's a perfect example of what your doctor's not telling you. Because when you go to the doctor and your cholesterol is high, other than saying you have to diet and exercise, they're going to say, we're going to put you on a statin. It's almost automatic. So,
okay, so that's my next question is, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because it's a knee-jerk response. Doctors have been trained in the Western model of medicine. If you have a problem, you throw a pill at it. If you have a problem, you throw a pill at it. If you have a problem, you throw a pill at it. And that's not necessarily the best approach, because if you're not looking at the underlying cause of why you have a problem, Don't you want to fix the problem before it even starts? If you scratch yourself and you put a Band-Aid over the scratch, you're saying, oh, my scratch is gone because I got a Band-Aid over it. Well, it's not true. Your scratch is still there. So the problem is, let's not get you scratched to begin with. Let's not get you wounded to begin with. If you take simple steps, simple, easy, and committed steps, you can change your life. And that's what Big Pharma is not going to tell you, because they make trillions of dollars off of your illness, okay? Now, they save a lot of lives. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take pharmaceuticals. I'm not saying that. But here's the thing. If you would take simple steps to protect your health that I outline in the book, you could throw away probably 4/5 of your medication. Think of the money you would save. Think of the side effects you would be spared. And think of the better life you would have. And that's what the book is about.
Yes, and that's why I'm urging people to buy this. These are not expensive books. This is the real reasons you don't feel good and what you can do about it, what your doctor won't tell you. And you heard the reason why. I mean, it's probably easier. And I have found in my talking with many physicians, if you even ask them about the over-the-counter supplements or go to a health food store and ask them, they don't know what the value is. They'll say, honestly, I really don't know. Well, why don't you know?
And Anita, the reason they say that is they're not taught it in medical school. They're not taught it. So think about it. For the price of lunch out with your friends, these 2 books could save your life and change your life. So you could go out to lunch today, and that's great, or you can order those 2 books and save your life. What would you do?
Well, I've been pushing them. I've been telling all my friends about it. I said, this is the Bible that you need to have, especially because it seems that retirees spend so much of their time talking about their health. I mean,
Right.
maybe the lunch they had, but it's always about their health. And if they brought this book with them to their meetings, they would answer so many questions. And also, they're very carefully written. They're organized so that you can get through them. They're great indexes. And I just want you to know it. But now let's go to I don't want to run out of time on this because I love your novel. Let's talk about the novel, Into the Ether, and why did you go from something so intense to something that's it's exciting and intense also. The main character is an anesthesiologist, as a matter of fact. But talk about your wonderful book that's called Into the Ether, please.
Well, before I wrote the novel, I wrote 4 nonfiction books, and I said, I want to give myself a chance to write fiction because I want to see how it would go. And when I started writing the book, which had been in my mind for many years, the plot and the basic premise, what I learned along the line is that I kept smiling as I wrote it because I could just become anything I wanted and do anything I wanted. And it was just so much fun to write fiction that it opened a new world to me. And it came out so well, in my opinion, that my agent and I are really trying to get it into a film or a series on television. So we are really pushing for that. And the reviews are 5-star on Amazon. There are many reviews. Also, people can learn about the book at my website, etherthriller.com. And I think that most everyone can relate to the story that I present there.
Very much, but you really, a lot of you, it's in this. And I mean, if I hadn't known you and talked to you for a little while, I wouldn't really understand that. But every twist and turn, and I just thought, you're really a scientist, but in order to write this, so it was believable, you had to do so much research to know where the star or the hero or the whomever you want to call him, how he had to find out all these things.
Well, you're right. I did a lot of research about the stock market and about the Securities and Exchange Commission and about Scotland Yard and about Queen Elizabeth, who's involved, and about the President of the United States and the legal system surrounding the Justice Department. So And also the banking secrecy laws in the world, where the 10 most secret places to bank and put money are. So you're right, I did do a lot of research, and it was so much fun because I kept thinking, this is like a James Bond film, basically.
It was. And also in traveling, because the character had to really travel to cover his, cover all his errors up. And the thing that happened to me is I really liked him. I knew he was doing bad things, but you really made him very empathetic. I was empathetic with him.
Well, as my agent said, he is a criminal, but he's kind of cool, and I don't really care that he stole $13 million.
Nowadays, $13 million doesn't seem like so much. If it was $13 billion, it would be different, right?
Right, but I wanted to make it believable enough so that, I think anybody in your audience would be glad with 13 million. I know I would be. And I think you could lead a pretty independent and fun life with $13 million. So I didn't want to make it too unbelievable. So.
Well, every chapter presented something new. And as I read, oh my goodness, now what is he doing? And I guess towards the end, I mean, that was really quite an ending. I don't know if I was happy with it or not, because I liked him. And,
here's the thing. A lot of people are not thrilled with the ending because I'm setting it up for the sequel. And so the ending is really the segue to the next book, which I'm working on right now, which is going to be called Index of Suspicion. So
what's it called?
Index of Suspicion.
Index of Suspicion.
When you say those words in medicine, it means that you have to be thinking about a certain diagnosis based on the physical signs you see with the patient to have the index of suspicion to make the diagnosis. That's why I call it that. So, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, so you see these people when you're writing, you see these people in your mind. That's how you can develop. Your character development was excellent. I must say, I saw those people.
Well, I saw them too every day, and I see them in my mind every day because I have certain actors and actresses who I'm fitting into those roles. So, people have said to me, well, in the movie, who would play the main character, Adrian?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that.
I think maybe Ryan Reynolds would play it. Because Brad Pitt's just a little bit too old for the role. He's just a little too old. Our protagonist is in his 40s. So, we could maybe, I don't know how old Ben Affleck is, but maybe Ben Affleck could play it. I don't know. Maybe he might be a little too old. I don't know. But, some leading man in Hollywood who's in his 40s. And so, yes, I can picture the people in my mind. I could see Kelsey Grammer playing the president very well.
Right.
And I could see the other guy who played on Frasier, his brother Niles. He could play Mr. L. Mr. L is the mysterious. Right. Can't you see that?
I can, but I want to know who could play the lady. There wasn't enough of her in this book for me.
The actress on Better Call Saul, Ray Seaborn. Ray Seaborn is her name. She plays Kim Wexler on Better Call Saul, and I could see her playing the role too. A blonde, attractive woman. You need to look her up. It's RHEA Seaborn, and so I see all these people in my mind, and I base a lot of characters on people I've known. Like one character is based on my father.
Oh, right. That was extraordinary.
Yes. And he plays a criminal type. My dad wasn't a criminal, but he had his moments. So yeah.
Yeah, but that was interesting that I found out that was your father. I mean, I got that feeling as I'm reading and knowing you and what that was, but that you did put everything in there that you probably could. And the thing that I feel is so important is that here you are, a renowned medical practitioner, and yet you decided that writing was now your new passion. So you either had too much of the other, or you just are one of those kind of people that say, listen, I want more, I can do so many other things.
Well, it's a combination of both. And Anita, that's why I admire you so much and Boomer Times, because here's the message that you're giving, that you never stop learning, you never stop growing, you never stop developing, you never stop evolving. So this is the big lesson in life that I know that you have followed yourself, because I know you by now. And I'm not going to say your age on the
You
the
can, well,
television.
I've told people it's okay.
Well, you're okay. Well, you look like you're 50 and not your
Yeah,
age.
right.
And so
Yeah, I'm
the whole
83 to be 84 in December, but I don't even think about it. You're the first anesthesiologist I've actually met. I only had one operation where I had an anesthesiologist when it was in my 30s when I had a partial hysterectomy. But I must say that if all anesthesiologists are as sweet, kind, and thoughtful as you, people would love to go and have operations.
well, that's awfully nice of you to say. And I'll leave you with this. People said to me, why do you want to go into anesthesiology? You never get to know your patients. And that's a big fat lie. That's a big fat lie, because I always took the time before surgery to learn about people. I had 10 or 15 minutes and I said, what do you do for a living? Where do you come from? Do you have any family? And when you wake up, we're going to be here waiting for you. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to go great. And then I had a lot of repeat patients, because many patients need repeat procedures. And I said, next time you come to this hospital, ask for me and I'll do your anesthesia. And
you're perfect.
And I had a lot of repeat patients, and I received a lot of gratitude and even gifts from people.
I'm sure you did.
Well,
we really appreciate you so much, and we'll have you back again. This is just, now you're down here from Fort Lauderdale, going to enjoy the winter, but we will have you again and again. I'm just so thrilled and privileged to know you, Dr. David Lehrer, and please be sure to buy books, Hospital Survival Guide, What Your Doctor Won't Tell You, and of course, Into the Ether, which is the novel, Into the Ether. So thank you again, and I'll talk to you another time. Bye, everybody, and be healthy. It's going to be December soon.